in the southeast, when we look at our soil types, majority of the time we're going to be lower pH, and what that needs to raise that pH is ag lime, just regular ag lime. And a lot of folks, it's actually the cheapest nutrient we can put out there, but a lot of folks skip that step. It's a really important step. We need to get our pH in general to a more neutral range. A lot of the plants we're putting in food plots, they need to have, say, a pH in between 5.5 up to, say, 6.5. Our soils here in the state of Georgia and a lot of the surrounding states where we're sending products, they're going to have a lower pH soil. So the first thing I would want to recommend is to get our pH right, and that's through liming. For lime to be effective, we need to incorporate it into the soil profile. And we do that with disking. A lot of times in the fall, we're disking the ground, getting ready for a fall food plot. So it matches up really nicely to put out ag lime as we're preparing our fall food plot. So the reason why I recommend putting it out in the fall is when we're getting ready to put in our spring food plots, that pH is rising. And by that next year, when we're putting in our fall plots, that pH should be where we want it to be to really maximize nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, depending on which nutrients we're putting out, to really maximize the uptake of those added nutrients we're putting out. So when you think about nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium being our big three nutrients that majority of plants use, legumes are unique. They don't need added nitrogen. They fixate their own nitrogen, so that's a benefit that we have with legume species. But when we look at other cereal type crops or grass type crops, some of our forbs, we need nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. So if you're preparing the soil bed where we're disking, we're getting things ready, my recommendation would be put out some of those nutrients up front. We need to get those nutrients available for those plants for when they're germinating, when they're up, emerging, actively growing. Some people will do that after establishing that seed, and that's fine too. The big key thing there is what I would focus on is those nutrients need to be available to that plant as it's actively growing.